G'day legends. If you're working on a project that has a ton of vocals in it, there's a whole lot of editing ahead of you to get things sounding nice and tight. Say you've got double tracks, triple tracks, double tracks of harmonies, you've stacked up the vocals, but they're a little messy and you need to get them nice and tight and polished. Then check out this little tip here for Logic Pro users. So what I'm going to do is show you a really quick and easy way to line your vocals up and get them sounding nice and tight together, and it only takes a couple of clicks. Now there's a couple of ways you can go about making your vocals nice and tight. You can use Vocal Line, or you can do it manually. You can do it in Melodyne. You can shift things around and get them nice and tight. You can use Flex Time in Logic. And what we're going to do is use a thing called Groove Tracks in Logic, which does use Flex Time. So what it does is like a Vocal Line kind of thing. We choose one track to be our guide, our big star of the show, and then the other tracks are going to try and sync up with that. So let me show you how we do this. So in Logic, in the global window, we're just going to right click on a channel over here and come down to Track Header Components, and then come down to Groove Track. So I've already got it clicked, but just click on that and make sure it's selected. And then what we need to do is select our guide. So we're going to use the lead vocal, Voc 1 over here, and then we're going to come over to the number on the side and we see this little star here. We're going to click on that. This is now our lead groove track. So you can see we've got these boxes down here which we can check any track in the session. Of course, if we choose some of these, it's going to do some weird things, but if we choose a vocal, which is pretty much exactly the same, but with some timing issues, it's going to try and snap it too. Let's have a quick listen to what it sounds like before we do this.
Don't let your light fade. Don't let your soul die. Endless boundaries left to explore.
Okay, so a little bit of a prog metal kind of track that I'm working on here at the moment. I've got the double track really loud so you can hear what it's doing, and you can hear there's some timing issues, especially around this line here.
Endless boundaries left to.
Here, like the S's are at different times, words are slightly phrased a little different. It's close, but it's a little messy. So what we're going to do is use Groove Tracks to fix this. So now all I need to do is come over here and check this box. It's going to analyze. And then we've got Flex Time open here and it has made some adjustments for us. Now it's automatically gone to polyphonic. So already that's kind of a problem. We don't want polyphonic on a vocal. So make sure you come over and click on this and change it to monophonic. Okay, now that that's done, let's have a listen to what it's done.
Don't let your light fade. Don't let your soul die. Endless boundaries left to explore.
So it's an improvement. We could still tweak this a little bit though. So we can see these are slightly different length. We could drag that out. And the S was still a little bit wrong here. So we could drag that across a little bit. And I think drag this one out a touch. And that's looking pretty good. Let's have a listen to that now.
Don't let your light fade. Don't let your soul die. Endless boundaries left to explore.
Sounds pretty tight. Now, I wouldn't have the double track this loud, of course, but it's good to have it loud while you're editing it. And then you can, of course, just then pull it down into the mix. I'd probably have it quite low around here.
Don't let your light fade. Don't let your soul die. Endless boundaries left to explore.
Sounds great. Now the thing is, it's never going to be perfect, and when you listen through, you're going to find some weird things. It will make some mistakes. So let's see if we can find a mistake in here. Have a look at this one here. This is definitely not lined up. So you always have to listen through so you can fix things. I recommend putting the eraser as your second tool, and then you can just hold down Command and rub out any of these errors as you go. So we could just drag that over then and fix that one up. And so basically you just got to go through, listen to the track, find any of the stuff that's not working and give it a couple little tweaks. So it still takes a little bit extra time past the fact where you snap it to. Sometimes it might nail it, and then sometimes you're going to have to do a little bit of extra listening, but it is going to be a lot quicker than if you manually did all of this. It kind of gets you like 80% of the way, and then you just do a couple of tweaks and really fine tune it. Now, I know there's a lot of people out here who just absolutely hate Flex Time, and with some fair reasons. It does have artifacts and glitches, but anytime you start manipulating the timing of something, the pitch of stuff, of course, it's going to do some strange things. And so I try and limit Flex Time to tracks that are not at the front of the mix. So for example, we're doing it on our double track, which is set back in the mix a bit. If we listen to this on its own, it's probably going to have a few little artifacts, like little glitchy sounds, but because it's sitting behind our lead vocal, it's not going to be a problem at all. If you were flex timing your lead vocal, you'd have to be a bit more careful, and I do have a video on flex timing vocals, which I'll put in the link below if you want to check that out. But as far as tightening up double tracks and harmonies, this is a nice quick way of doing it if you don't own any third-party plugins like Vocaline. Vocaline, I would say, is a little bit cleaner and gets the edits a little bit better, but even Vocaline makes little errors as well. When doing a lot of vocals, Vocaline might be a little bit quicker, but this is completely free with Logic, so it's a pretty awesome feature. Now, once I'm done editing with FlexTime, I don't really like leaving FlexTime open because it chews up a bit of CPU, can slow things down a little bit, and occasionally weird things happen and your flex edits get messed up. So once you have your edits all really nice and good, I recommend bouncing the track in place. So turn off any plugins, so come over to the side here, bypass all our plugins, make sure the whole track's selected and press Control B, and then we're gonna bounce it in place. New track. Make sure the source is muted, so our FlexTime track will be muted in the background. We could have just bypassed plugins here, and include audio tail in file is fine, and then just overload protection only. It'll stop any potential clipping from happening. And then hit OK. And now we have our edited vocal just there, and we have our FlexTime track here. We can mute this one, and then we could hide it in the background if we want. So just hit H, and then hide it away. I've seen people use groove tracks to sync the bass to the bass drum. So there's lots of ways you can use it to tighten things up in your mix, but I think as far as getting nice and tight vocals, it's a really great tool for that. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support this channel, there's plenty of ways to do so in the description link below. You can go and visit my website, grab a drum sample pack, grab a mixing course, any of the affiliate links below to plugin companies like Kiive Audio, Black Salt Audio, Safari Pedals, Audimee. These are some of the great plugin companies that I'm affiliated with, and if you use my link to buy a plugin, a small commission gets sent to the channel, which is a massive support for the time that goes in to making videos and content like this. If you're interested in seeing another video that I made on editing and getting really tight polished vocals, then check out this next video coming up.